Why organizations are looking out for leaders than managers? Well, that's a very big question, and that's what I'm going to answer in this video. Well, my name is Arun Thukral. I'm a life and a leadership coach, and I welcome you all for this special program, special episode that I'm going to cover and talk about why leaders are in more demand and why the senior leadership in the organizations are looking for leaders than managers. Let's understand the problem right from the beginning. In the current scenario, when I interact with a lot of senior leaders, country heads, company heads, they always come across one problem. And that one problem is that they do not see the leadership capabilities in their team. Why they do not see? Because they see a lot of people are working as manager and they do not, and their teammates do not realize what is the difference between the role of a leader versus a manager. And not only that, they don't even realize what is the relevance of these two behaviors that they have to exhibit in their day-to-day work when they're dealing with people, when they're dealing with peers, when they're dealing with customers, clients, and some of all. That's one of the reasons that a lot of organizations are looking out for leaders outside. Well, I also want to share one very simple example. It happened some time ago. I spoke to one of the managers and I simply asked him, what do you understand by the difference between a leader and a manager? And he gave me a very innocent and a very simple answer. He said that a leader is the one who leads the team and a manager is the one who manages the team. Such a simple answer, but very powerful. And he was very right in saying that a leader is the one who leads, which means he's the one who creates, who sets up the vision, who understands the capabilities and can create something which is going to be bigger in the organizational needs. Whereas a manager is the one who manages what the leader has created. The answer was simple, but it has a lot of relevance. Well, in this video today, I'm going to take you through 9 differences between a leader and a manager, because we are talking about attitude. We are not talking about their job responsibilities. We are talking about a behavior that one has to exhibit and use most of the time if you are a people manager, if you are working as a leader in the organization. In this video, you are going to understand very clearly what is the difference and what all leaders does, what all a manager does, and what you need to pick up as per your situation. The first difference is the leaders create a vision while managers execute the vision. Okay, let's look at a role of a leader. The role of a leader is to set the eyes of a bigger picture in mind to achieve bigger goals. So they paint the picture in a way that how they can achieve something bigger, something impossible, or something which is going to make a huge impact. And in order to do so, they engage and motivate their team. They know that how each one of their teammates can come and contribute to achieve the larger objective that they have looked into. So for that, they look into the capabilities of the people. They work towards their capabilities to make them ready. They keep their teams motivated and making them achieve those goals. And what does a manager do? A manager creates processes and systems to see that how those goals are going to get achieved. Therefore, they are more focused on execution of the plan to achieve the ultimate goal. So eventually the leader creates the vision while a manager works in the execution of that vision by channelizing their teams and setting up the process and accountability. The second difference is the leaders create change, whereas managers look forward for status quo. So in very simple word, leaders are disruptors. They are always looking for a change. They want to create bigger things. So they always challenge the status quo. They look for opportunities, how something can be done better, bigger, and faster. And that is the reason they challenge the current systems and processes, and they look at what best can be done. For that, they look for inspiration from other industries, other networks, and they try to bring and make the system more robust and bring that change which can bring a lot of betterment and improvement in the system. While on the other hand, the manager works on thinking on those things that are doing and giving results. So they just work on process refinement, system refinement, so that they are able to achieve more from the same. And that's where they love to remain in the status quo mindset rather than creating something new and big. So they don't challenge those bigger things that are happening in the organization. They remain where they are and they just keep improvising the current system. The third difference between a leader and a manager is that leaders are unique, whereas managers copy. So in very simple words, highly outstanding and successful leaders have got very high level of self-awareness, which means they know what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and how the things that they will do will help them to become better in what they do. So they create their own leadership style. They change their style according to the situation, according to the person, and that's where they are more innovative in their approach because they have high self-awareness. Whereas managers on the other side, they remain in their own confined zone and they tend to copy the leadership style of their predecessors or their past bosses, or they look up to what is working well right now. And that's how they try to copy those styles, and many a times those people are not successful. Those managers just fail because they don't able to connect what is the situation, what is the person, and what is the need of the hour. That is where leaders scores a lot in terms of showing the way new things can be built because of their high self-awareness. The fourth difference between a leader and a manager is that the leaders take risk, whereas the manager manages risk. I'm sure you will agree that when you look at leaders, they are willing to try new things even if they are likely to fail, or they know that even if they fail, that is their next step towards success. That means they embrace failures. Whereas on the other hand, the managers, they avoid or they control the problems. They do not want to take risks because of fear of failure. And that's why they remain confined to their zone and they just manages the risk. The fifth difference between a leader and a manager is leaders are there for a long haul, whereas the managers always look for short term. Well, leaders are here to look at things from a larger perspective. They have a vision, so they know what they say, they do. They look for the bigger things that will take little longer time, so they remain in the game and they remain focused, motivated towards their goals. That's why they remain hooked to their goals even if they are not rewarded. On the other hand, when we look at the managers, they look for short term and they keep looking for acknowledgements and rewards for whatever they have done in the recent past. So that clearly differentiates that when leader is there, he or she is looking for the larger objective, which is likely to take time. So they are here for a long game or an infinite game, whereas compared to a manager who is looking for finite results and remain short term in their approach. The sixth difference between a leader and a manager is that leaders are having growth mindset, whereas managers are happy with the proven methods. So if a leader is not learning anything new, they know that they are falling behind in their growth and development, which means they are always open to learn from new people, new information, new process, new skill that keeps them updated, upgraded to meet the unexpected changes and the challenges that are likely to come. While on the other hand, the managers mostly rely on the proven skills or the proven methods that has worked in the past, and they repeatedly do more of the same, and that's why they are not able to innovate and do newer things, and they are very happy in what they do. That's why they remain where they are. The seventh difference between a leader and a manager is that leaders work on building relationships, whereas managers work on building systems and processes. Leaders very clearly focus on building relationships with people because they know that their stakeholders are going to play an important role in achieving the overall vision of the organization. That's why they remain very close to their stakeholders. Leaders know who are their stakeholders, and basis that they deliver their promise and build trust and credibility with them, and that strengthens their relationship. Whereas when it comes to managers, they are more focused on building processes and systems and individuals in order to achieve their goals. And that clearly demarcates what leader is focusing upon, that is networking, building trust and credibility with various stakeholders. Now we come to the eighth difference between a leader and a manager, and that is leader coaches whereas managers control. Leaders have got very high trust on their teams, and that's how they work on building the potential of the individual by giving them more opportunities and trusting their team. They do not delve into on a day-to-day basis telling their team what to do and how to do things, because they are very optimistic and they look forward to develop the potential of the individuals. Whereas on the other hand, when we look at managers, they are highly process oriented, task oriented, and they keep following up with their people, how much they have done, what they have done, and they remain confined to day-to-day task of achievement of the overall goal. Now we come to finally the last point of difference between a leader and a manager. The leader creates more leaders, whereas managers create more employees. As said very clearly, leaders no doubt have followers and they create that category of influence around their people, but most importantly, they work towards creating more leaders for the organization and for the industry that they work for. That is why people around them, they get hooked to their leader, they look up to those leaders for all the solutions and support, and they admire them a lot. Whereas on the other side, when we look at managers, they just create more followers or people who more believe in achieving on a day-to-day task. That is why they create more employees. Well, I simply want to submit my case by telling that in today's world, the demand is for leaders who have the tendency to use their wisdom, their focus, and meet the opportunity that is available in the organization to create more leaders for them. That's one of the reasons, if you have understood all the 9 points, why organizations are searching for more leaders than managers. That simply says they need to have more productivity, more cohesive environment, and people who can look forward to growth and opportunities in the organization. I hope this video would have given you a lot of insights about the difference between a leader and a manager. Now it's your call to take that approach and apply that in your day-to-day working, in your office, in your organization.